This video is for the people who like to comment on my channel saying that Jesus is the sun god. He's not. The Catholics believe and worship the sun god, that is the pagan trinity as seen here, but the Bible is very specific that we are not supposed to worship the sun, the moon, and the stars, and that's found in Deuteronomy 4, verse, I'll just read it from 15 here. Take ye therefore good heed upon yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves, and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth, and lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, the moon, and the stars, even all the host of heaven, the constellations, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahweh thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. But Yahweh hath taken you, and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. We are told to not worship the sun, the moon, and the stars, constellations. Worship of constellations is astrology. That's under the host, the army, because the stars are angels, and the sun and the moon all controlled by angels that work for our Father. Our Father created it all, so he's saying don't worship the creation, worship the Creator. Yahweh is the Creator. Now people might say Yahweh is an evil God, but as I discussed in my video on Jesus coming to do away with the animal sacrifices, and he told us not to eat meat, and he came to tell us that we were never supposed to eat meat, and I have lots of videos on that. If you have any questions, just ask me. But also, they worshipped the graven image of a beast, the ox, the golden calf, and they sacrificed their children to Molech. And they did that while Yahweh was speaking unto Moses the 10 Commandments. So when they were worshiping the golden calf, they called the golden calf Yahweh. So that's why there's some stuff in the Bible that says it's about Yahweh. And what people might say, oh, Yahweh's evil. Well, no, it's just that Molech is evil, and the Israelites decided to call Molech Yahweh. And so that's why there's some stuff that's evil that is attributed to Yahweh, even though he never did that. Yahweh was on the mountain talking to Moses about the 10 Commandments, about thou shalt not kill. Well, they were off sacrificing and killing to Molech, but they were calling Molech Yahweh. And some people talk about how the sun, S-U-N, and S-O-N sound the same in English, but it doesn't in Greek or Hebrew. They are different words. This is Strong's 2246 for Helios for the sun, and Strong's 5207 Huios for a sun, or Huos. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, it's only in English, the English language, that they sound the same, but English language was, in my opinion, a form of the dark arts, sorcery. They use word magic, and you can search up word magic and you'll find a lot about it. But it usually has to do with English, because the English language arts, like the dark arts, language arts. We were told that it was an art form, and that is like a form of witchcraft. And there's lots of examples about the word magic that you will find, like how they use programs on TV to program our mind. And the place Hollywood, they use the wood of holly as magic wands to put people to sleep. So there's a reason why it's called Hollywood, and it's programming. And lie vision, like they're telling you a vision and there's lies in it. They're brainwashing us basically. So that's, the English language makes it sound the same because they're using the dark arts. We were told that there would be sorcery against us in the last days. And as I mentioned here with the pagan trinity, Jesus never came and said that he was God. He never claimed to be God. He always said he was the Son of God, just like we are the sons. We're co-heirs with him. So how could he be God unless we're co-heirs with God? It just doesn't make sense, right? So you can check out my videos on Jesus not being God. He actually says he's not God right out here in John 7, verse 17. He talks about how if people were wanting to do, well, let me start at verse 16. My teaching is not my own, Jesus replied. It comes from him who sent me, that is, the Father. The Father sent him. And so it's his Father's teaching, it's God's teaching that he is saying. He's saying that he is not teaching a doctrine that comes from him. He's teaching what the Father told him to say, what God told him to say. And so he says, my teaching is not my own. It comes from him who sent me. If anyone desires to do his will, he will know whether my teaching is from God or whether I speak on my own. So he's saying, I'm either speaking on my own or I'm speaking for God. And so he's flat out saying, I'm not God, because he's saying it's not my teaching. I'm speaking for God. It's not my teaching, but you'll know that if you are actually seeking to do our Father's will. And I did this picture here where it says Jesus says he's not God. There's lots of verses where he says that he isn't. He says that his Father told him what to say and what to do. And of course, the prophecies all had Yahweh saying that he would put his words into the prophet's mouth, which was Jesus. And so whatever he would be commanded to say or do, that's what he would do, and that's what he did. And that's what he always claimed to be, the prophet that God sent, the Messiah. People who say Jesus is God have to ignore lots of scriptures that say Jesus actually has a God, because then they have God having a God, which doesn't make any sense. So if you came to my channel and commented about how he is the sun god, I hope I have proven that he is not, because we were told through scripture not to worship the sun, moon, or stars. That's pagan. And yes, the Catholic Church is worshiping the pagan god. And I did a whole video on how I'm not Christian. I left the cult of Christianity. You can see that video. I'll leave links below. And you can see my video playlist on Jesus not being God. And thank you for listening.